that was a button. Right guys, Mark Crossfield here. Do you want to win one of my old TS2 or TS3? This is continuing on the competition that's on the original TSi review video. Before I send one of these off, before one of you win, which I'll give you the entry conditions in a second, we're going to compare TSi2, so the newer driver from Titleist, against the TSi3, the two new ones, against TS2 TS3. A lot of TSing, isn't it? Fastest, straightest driver ever produced, TSi, is what Titleist say. We'll look at the tech, we're going to compare the numbers, and like I say, you could win one of these two. So what you need to do to enter, same as the other video, we need to get this video to 5,000 likes, so get hitting that like button down there if you're enjoying this video. We also need you to be subscribed to this channel for a chance to win, with the bell on, so you can do that at the same time. Now, I want you to post a comment. And that is your last point of entry. If you post a comment down below telling me, will the new TSIs be longer than the old TS2s? Yes or no, or what your thoughts are. If you post a comment down there, we get to 5,000 likes, you are subscribed with the bell on, one of these two drivers is going anywhere in the world for someone to enjoy playing golf with. Because these were good, I enjoyed playing with these. Shall we see if it's longer and straighter? Or is it all just a load of TS? Right, I'm going to start with my old TS3 that you could win, remember. So I obviously gamed this club and did enjoy it. And we've got them all lined up. I'm going to use one shaft, collect numbers, and also we're going to strokes game, because at the end there's going to be a little competition where I choose an old and a new. So the best of the old and the best of the new. And we'll take it to a fairway and see which one comes out as the ultimate winner. TS3 looks good. I know what it feels like. It feels as good as anything I've hit. It makes a nice titanium noise, but not too loud. It's not too tingy. It sits nice to a fraction open. So if you're someone who likes to see a closed club face address, maybe this one won't suit. And obviously this one has the old classic lineup line on top, where the new ones, you've obviously got TSi as the lineup line compared to the old triangle. I don't know many people who pick up TS3 and say they don't like the look, like the look is strong. And it does just feel, it feels solid. Fraction fadey sometimes, that's what I used to find it a little bit fadey if I wanted to draw it, but sounds like good. TSi3, let's compare old 3 to new 3. Obviously we get the difference in the tech. So the biggest difference when I put them down by the ball is how the club comes out of the neck. It's definitely more pear in TSi3. So it's here. It doesn't come, basically TS comes out a little bit more bulbous in this area, where the TSi3, see, it just kind of slopes away a little bit more. It gives it this kind of pear, like it's drooping here at the bottom, which I really like. And Titleist for years have associated that shape kind of with better players. That's what they ask for, that's what they want. So I'm sure lots of them are happy that that's back. And obviously that's a real visual thing. It's not going to really change the numbers massively, if or not at all, even if Titleist say they will. I don't think they do. It's just going to be put in people's hands. Certainly the tour players that they're keen to, you know, get using their drivers, and they're going to pick it up and go, yep, love that, game that shape, really nice. Acoustic wise, not sure I really hear much of a difference between old 3, new 3. They sound, then in turn feel very similar. Just a fraction possibly softer in this. So that's a higher pitch sound to the old TS3 to the TSi3, which is maybe not as high a pitch, which then makes me feel like it's like a fraction duller sound, which then makes me feel like it's almost softer. It doesn't mean it doesn't feel solid, it does. It just doesn't feel as explosive. But obviously we'll look at the real numbers to see if it is. So I hit a couple more with TSi3. Let's go to the tech with all 4 clubs and see actually what is the marketed difference between them all. Right, if you want a full in-depth tech review of either of these videos, they're obviously on the individual videos for them, so you could look that up if you want the really in-depth. Big differences between the two. So if we go TS3, we had the whole old sleeve in here where I could put weights, heel and toe ideas, where now we have a movable weight on TSi3, which is one of the big standout differences, which allows me to align my CGs with strike points a little bit, or attempt to. So not so much shot shaping, which it was definitely advertised more on this, more dialing in your strike pattern. Other massive difference is the ATI face. This is aero grade titanium, super fast, super springy, keeping tolerances up really high. So again, in theory, if the tolerances are better on that, we might see a little bit more efficiency, a little bit more ball speed out of this over the older face in the TS2 and 3. So that's in both clubs. All of them feature the sure fit neck, so very changeable, obviously. TSi2 and TS2 both have the fixed weight at the back, which you can play with, but not you, it's more fitted in. And then it's the same pattern where the TSi3 and the TS3 are the kind of smaller, gaming, better shapes, where TS2, TSi2 more stretched back and in theory higher MOIs, and obviously you've got the shaping distance that we talked about as well. So the tech's kind of similar, but also not. Definitely the ATI face from Titleist, they're very excited about this. They're the only company using it. Let's go and see really how well it does. So you can see the differences in the tech there. There's also aerodynamic claims with the new over the old, so more aerodynamic, which we might see in speed coming out as we look at the numbers, which we're going to in a second. TS2, and again, obviously we get that visual difference in the toe area. So we see a little bit more shaping in the TSi2 here in the toe compared to the TS2. Definitely the complaints were always that it was a bit straight for some eyes. Again, that's not going to be a performance that you'll see in the numbers. That'll be just more how a human reacts to that look. TS2 in both of the heads looks bigger, more friendly, that kind of game improvement idea. But what you find when you work with good players, so the tour players would very much change between 2 and 3. It wasn't just 3 was for the better players, even though they're marketed a bit that way. They would literally dial in what they want in a looks and shape launches. You know, they're 2 options rather than maybe one's better than the other. The better and worse will be a reflection of what you feel is better and worse. Again, not really feeling anything as I pass through the 4 heads, and I wouldn't want to. You got to remember, you know, Titleist make popular, well-made, good tolerance drivers. I wouldn't want them to change too much. That would suggest that the other ones weren't really working, wouldn't it? And it'll be interesting as we drill down into these numbers. We're going to use strokes gained as well as the data sheet to show you which one might be better or worse. I think it's going to be so close. Like with all the driver companies, no one's really making a bad one, and they've all been pushed to their limits and have done. It's very small little differences. And again, club design is not always linear. You know, it can go backwards, forwards, because you are talking shapes and colours. Right, TSi3 got it set slightly in the toe with this weight to line up with my general slightly toed stripe pattern. A few shots with this, and then we'll check these numbers out. I do like the pair shape of this. It does. I would choose this one out of all of them, I think, if I was choosing. I quite like the TSi on the top as well. Obviously, again, that means nothing for numbers. I just quite like the look of it. And yet again, like, they are sounding so close, and in turn feeling so close. Apart from anything jumping out in the numbers, like you've got free reign with all these clubs. Like if you're using TS2, TS3, I don't think you'll be changing to I, but maybe in the comments down below, let me know if you got big gains out of it. If you do have older models, the 2 new TSIs, 2 and 3, definitely should be in your test list. Right, in the comments down below, which one, before we throw to the numbers, do you reckon? So I've got to play the best of the old against the best of the new in a competition on a fairway, furthest and straightest down there. Out of the old and the new, which ones do you reckon? So will it be TSi2 against TS3, or what's to come? 1 old, 1 new down there. Let me know, what do you reckon? I'm going to bring Matt in to look at the numbers. He's my numbers guy, and he's also going to strokes gain these, which often deliver some interesting outcomes. Let's see what he's come up with.
So let's look at the 2s first, shall we? And TS2, the older model, 158 ball speed compared to 155, or nearly 156. So the older TS2 doing slightly better on ball speeds. Spin's very similar, and that ball speed just making that carry distance 4 yards further, 272 to 268. Now if we look at the 3s, TS3, TSi3, very similar. ball speeds, 0.2 in it, 157.2, 157. Spins within 50 revs, so again, very similar, and both carrying identical. So out of these numbers, which two drivers is he taking to the mega match? He could, in my opinion, be taking the TS2 with the maximum ball speed there at 158. He could also be taking the TS3 and the TSi3. I don't think he'll be doing anything with the TSi2. So I reckon there's 3 in there. But let's have a look at the strokes gained and see if they say anything different. So I've calculated the numbers and I've written them on this box. So I'll just read them off of this, obviously. So the TS2, this is against a Tour Pro, remember. So the TS2 is losing the most, 2.43. Per shot, though, it's losing 0.14. TSi2 losing 0.1. And then if we look at the old TS3, wowzers, total gains of 3.24 per shot, 0.18. That is quite a jump between the 2s and the TS3 there. And lastly, TSi3, also losing slightly against the Tour Pro, 0.78, but per shot, again, very close, losing 0.04. So if I combine the numbers that we talked about earlier and the strokes gained, I'm giving him the TS3 and the TSi3 for the mega match.
Right, Matt's chosen these two for me. Going to go to 18th Pebble Beach, great driving hole. Interesting how similar the numbers were, but how different the strokes gained were. You've got to remember I did just, basically what happened is I hit 2 line balls with this, and I think 2 in the rough with this. So it's a small data capture. So when you're choosing your clubs, strokes gained is a great way to see if these clubs are actually going to help you lower your handicap. You do need a good amount of data set really to get the kind of numbers coming out of those. So you do want to dial into both really, both ideas of, you know, what your maximum ball speeds are, what spins it's giving you, consistency of those kind of things, as well as strokes gained. I think is a good way at the moment of doing it. Really, if you wanted to test these, like ultimately you'd test them for about a year, work out the strokes gained, and then you wouldn't buy any of them because a new club would come out and then you'd start the process again. You see what I mean? At some point you have to like not buy one or buy one, I guess. So TSi3 to kick us off. I am now going to be rated by the Pacific Ocean. And going left. It's a short little spinny thing. Oh, I'll take it though. This hole, free shotter for me. Oh, again, slightly out the bottom, but better delivery with the face, as in for angles. So we're going to get a fairway ball, get under that tree. Yeah, that's in a decent position. It was just a little out the bottom, so the spin's high. It's a 158 ball speed, which is good for me. And it wasn't like the best strike. So it shows the potential that's in here. There you go. That's a really good shot for me. It just needs to stay right because this fairway just cuts into the left. Get forwards. Yes. There you go. That's a 280 carry, 159 ball. That's going to be the hard one to beat. And if the clubs were this close, which they are, the odd one of those is what will tip me. Obviously, if I had TS3 and I was spending money on TSi3, I don't know if it would tip me. You'd have to have spare money. TS3's turn. Think about strokes gained on those 3 shots. My best shot there was the last one, but the one on fairway and another one in rough to recovery position. You know, it's so much you can see as you test these drivers more and more. My performance is actually what you're measuring more than these to a certain extent. If it was looks, it would be TSi. Oh, that's not a good hit. It's exactly the same almost to the first one with TSi, slightly more off the top, so it's better carry. Just totally wrong shape. Bit toey, so you can see it dipping. Ah, it's in the water. Oh, such a shame. That was good. That's 113 club. It's just a miss it. That had potential. So remember, you could be winning TS2 or TS3. You can see from the test, obviously, my performance falling down a little bit on this hole, but they are good performing clubs. Make sure you're subscribed, hit that like button, and posted a comment down there to enter. Get the bell on as well while you're at it. Right, last one. Can I? Yeah, that's a nice one. It's not the meatiest, but it's good. Oh, maybe it is. Oh, look at that. Oh my word. I mean, you can see the problem, can't you? If I had to choose, if I'm spending my money, I'm keeping this, or I'm getting this on a deal. If I'm in the brand new driver market, yeah, like I'm happy to spend. I want to test, you know, this kind of bracket of club. That one's got potential. At the end of the day, with all four of these, there isn't a bad one. They're all really good. Titleist, all the companies have to say they're the longest and the straightest, and I'm sure on their test it shows that they are, but by how much humanly testable, you know, how much can a human get that number out of there? I prefer the shape of TSi3, which again, if I was spending money that I had, that might sway me. Put comments down below, what do you think? Which one? I mean, it's hard. They're all very good. But I'm more than happy for one of you to win TS3 or TS2 because they're just really good drivers. I'm not sure anything really is getting much faster or straighter. I just think we're going round and round and round a little bit.